And today we're reacting to most epic revenge stories in history. We all love a good revenge story, bro. We all love when the person that essentially got finessed is able to turn it around and get it back in blood. I love a good revenge story. Look into the video, man. Let it
More extreme revenge stories from history. Peter I of Portugal. It's 1340, and Peter, the son of the King of Portugal, is unexcitedly awaiting the arrival of his future bride. This marriage wasn't one Peter was looking forward to. In fact, this was all his father, King Alfonso's idea. See, at the time, Portugal was a relatively small kingdom that shared a border with Castile, a large and powerful.
What if we still live? I know some cultures do, no disrespect to them, but what would y'all what would y'all do? How would y'all feel if you were like married into stuff like, okay, your parents said you're gonna marry this woman right here, and this is who you're with in 2025. Imagine 2025 how it is now, but the one change is that you marry who your parents say that you're supposed to marry. Oh, I know some niggas would be sick, bro. Niggas would be sick, but there would be some good things that came out of it too, I'd imagine. Right?
Nation. Understanding it was probably better to make friends and not enemies, Alfonso negotiated a deal to have his son marry the daughter of a powerful Castilian noble. The contracts were signed, and the king felt great that his son's marriage would help keep his kingdom safe and secure. Never in 1,000 years could he imagine what would happen next. The royal procession from Castile arrives, and out steps the most beautiful woman Peter had ever seen.
So he got lucky. And mind you, he said the most beautiful woman that Peter had ever seen. This is a different time period. You know what I'm saying? Where you probably see only one bad shit a lifetime. 5 max. Probably 1, to be honest. And you happen to have her.
His jaw hits the floor and he can't stop staring. Caramba! She is stunning! A total 10 out of 10 baddie, and the future king instantly falls madly in love.
Sure.
But there was just one problem. The woman he was staring at was actually not his bride.
Oh!
She is a woman named Inés de Castro, his future wife's lady-in-waiting. His real fiancée, Constanza, exits the carriage next and approaches Peter to introduce herself. She's nice and all, but as hard as the prince tries to focus on the woman who would soon be his queen, he just can't take his eyes off Inés. Peter and Constanza get married to fulfill the contract signed by their fathers, and they go on to have a very unhappy marriage.
The entire 2 kids passed away. Right?
Entire time, Peter is not so secretly hooking up with Inés, and rumors of their affair quickly spread through the court. Constanza grows increasingly frustrated with her husband's infidelity, and eventually she tries to get him to name Inés the godmother to one of her children. This was something that in that period would basically make the affair incestuous, but that child died within a week of birth, so Inés dodged that bullet. As frustrated as Constanza was with Peter, his father Alfonso was even more upset. His stupid son couldn't keep it in his pants, and now his affair was putting the entire kingdom at risk. See, an important detail in this story is that Inés's brothers were powerful, but now exiled Castilian noblemen who quickly befriended Peter when he started hooking up with their sister. Peter started to give them important roles in his court, and Alfonso worried that his idiot son might get dragged into some—
He's trying to finesse the situation. Bro, a lot of kingdoms, a lot of great things fell because a nigga just couldn't stop having relations. Can't stop having relations, and his dad's seeing it. He like, bro, please.
Castilian political war. The king starts trying to banish Inés from Portugal, sending her to various regions in the Iberian Peninsula. But his son just spends all of his time writing letters to her. In the end, all of his efforts to break up his son and side chick fail, and Alfonso's forced to keep Inés closer to him in Lisbon to keep an eye on both of them. Constanza dies in 1349.
Ooh, I know he happy as hell.
Due to complications from childbirth. Peter is still performing his royal duties of making new heirs, by the way. And when this happens, Peter is overjoyed. Finally, he can officially marry Inés and live happily ever after.
I know he lit.
But King Alfonso is having none of it. He banishes Inés to Coimbra and explicitly forbids Peter from marrying her. Peter, unsurprisingly, tells his dad to shove it and follows Ines to Coimbra, where they live together and have 4 children. Alfonso is now at his wits' end. These illegitimate heirs could one day try to make a claim for the throne, and Portugal could spiral into a civil war. Enough was enough. Ines had been nothing but trouble since she arrived 15 years ago. His son must choose Portugal or this woman. And so,
damn, he was running amok, spazzing, tripping for 15 years straight.
Alfonso hatches a plan to ensure Peter picks correctly. In 1355, King Alfonso sends 3 men to Coimbra. They find Ines in a monastery, and in front of her young children, they cut off her head and leave. Peter returns and finds the love of his life dead, and he is destroyed. He cries loudly, overwhelmed by feelings of grief and guilt for not being able to protect her. But soon his
Pops. Bro, and the fact that this happened, this is history. This happened. This is how business used to get handled. Your father sent 3 motherfuckers to pull up to your spot, wherever you're living, decapitate her in front of your children. You come back to this. What did he think was gonna happen? What did he think we weren't about to, paint the town red about this?
Tears burn hot with hatred and anger towards his
father. What did he think that was gonna do?
Peter raises an army and begins attacking and terrorizing areas in northern Portugal. In his efforts to prevent a future civil war, the king had accidentally caused exactly what he had feared. The forces of Peter and Alfonso fought for nearly the entire year, and in the end, Peter loses. His mother, the queen, is able to negotiate a truce between father and son, but the prince never forgives his father. 2 years later, Alfonso dies, and Peter becomes the new king of Portugal. He immediately orders that the men who murdered Ines be captured and brought.
Y'all come up here. No. Y'all gotta come up here. I need them. I need all 3 of them. That's tough. You were ordered and paid by the king to go handle business. You did what you were supposed to do. It's supposed to just be that. I was told I had to do it. Just for him to die and the new king to pull up and be like, bring y'all ass up here. But you did, you're going to feel that. Wow.
To him.
This is just an unfair time period.
Until 2 of them are finally apprehended in Castile in 1361. The 2 assassins are dragged before Peter, and with contempt in his eyes, the king stares at the men who killed his beloved Ines. The men are put on trial in public and found guilty. As punishment, Peter orders their hearts to be ripped out while they are still alive. Some sources say that he himself participated in the execution, screaming, "You have done the same to my heart!" What usually comes next in this story is apocryphal, meaning it may not have actually happened, but it is said that Peter then declared to the crowd that he had married Ines before she died, and that she was his rightful queen. He has Ines's body exhumed, dresses her corpse in the finest clothing, and places her on the throne, lovingly staring at the remains of his mistress. He crowns Ines the Queen of Portugal. He then forces every single nobleman to swear his loyalty to his queen by kissing her rotting hand.
Okay, all right, bro. You're doing a lot now. Now he's like, I get it. You wanted to get your get back, right? But now you're taking this to a different level of like, what is happening? What are you doing?
Following this coronation story, which may or may not be true, Peter then had Ines entombed in the Alcobaça monastery. In his final will, Peter orders that when his time comes, he also be laid to rest there with Ines. Inscribed in the marble of his tomb are the words, "Até o fim do mundo," until the end of the world. And that is where they both are to this very day.
Hey, what's good, y'all? I'm back again. And I've been putting a lot of people on to this program called Free Cash for a while now. Check out one of my supporters that had the biggest payout that I've seen yet from all the DMs y'all have sent. And I promise you, they've been hitting me up saying that they've tried it and it's worked. They've been getting cashed out, and I love to hear that because it genuinely actually works. And don't think I have not been seeing y'all's comments saying things like it doesn't work, Dior supporting a finesse, they're trying to take your data, and it's not true at all. And the fact that y'all would think that I would even put that on a video to get y'all finessed is wild to me, but But hey, first off, free cash does not sell your data. They strictly track your progress to make sure you can get paid. Only sign up with an email and password and give no personal information. So I don't know what y'all are talking about. Here's how it goes. You sign up through my link, and inside you see a list of apps and games. Download them, play, and beat the levels that they tell you. That's the key. You got to complete the requirement. And once you hit the level, the system credits your account. And every time you finish, you get real money. Cash out to your PayPal or get a gift card, while it also being free of charge. The games pay free cash to get new players, and free cash just shares the money with y'all for trying it out. It may take a little time to get a huge payout, but if you're gonna be on your phone playing games anyway, you might as well make $5 to $10 doing the same thing. I don't want to hold y'all any longer, and I hope I've cleared up some things if you've been sitting on the fence. Hit the link, try a few games, and then DM me. Let me know that you've been winning, actually getting your money. Like I showed y'all earlier, bro made $1,000 off of free cash. I'm not promising that's gonna happen every day for y'all, but the fact that there's a possibility for doing something that y'all already do should really be all the convincing that you need, bro.
Jianqiao. The early half of the 20th century was a time of complete chaos in China. In 1912, due to political pressures, the 6-year-old Qing Emperor Puyi abdicated his throne, officially ending the 268-year-old dynasty. Within just 4 years, the country that was once the most powerful nation in Asia devolved into a land of constant violence, with areas governed by regional warlords fighting for control over the now toothless government in Beijing. This era is known today as the Warlord Era, and amidst the mayhem, a young woman would make history when she set out on a decade-long quest to avenge the death of her father. It's the 1920s, and Shigolan is a college student in Tianjin. Unlike most people who were suffering greatly in the Warlord era, Gulan's life had taken quite the opposite turn. Her father, Shi Kongbin, had enlisted in the local military, and he quickly rose through the ranks. By 1925, he had gone from being the son of a simple farmer and tofu seller to a brigade general serving a powerful warlord aligned with the Fengxian clique. His family, including Shigolan, had in the process gained the status and prestige that came with such a rank. Everything was going great, until a second war broke out between the Fengxian and Zhuli cliques that changed her life forever. By October of 1925, the Fengxian had defeated the Zhuli, but a military governor named Sun Chanfang had used the opportunity to seize control of his area, becoming a very powerful warlord himself. Shi Kongbin is deployed with a brigade of mercenaries to capture a city in Chanfang's territory, and things initially go well for him. But during the battle, he and his men are caught off guard by a sneak attack led by the warlord himself. Kongbin's forces are quickly overwhelmed, and he is taken hostage. The following day, he is tied up and brought to a local train station. A crowd gathers, and Chanfang orders his prisoner decapitated. Kongbin's head is paraded around the station on a bamboo pike, and then...
Yeah, see, they'd be doing the most. This is like, they always do something and then just take it up a notch. We now be putting a man's head on a stick and parading it? Okay, I see.
Displayed for all to see.
Right.
News of her father's death reaches the young Shigolan, and she initially mourns the loss of her father. But soon her tears of sadness burn her cheeks, and she is consumed by anger. This warlord had not just killed her father. By displaying his head, he had dishonored his entire family.
Yeah, it's different. It's different if you just, oh, damn, they got him, and I got to live with that. But now you just like, that's like, I don't know. That's equivalent. They be saying this new era, people been doing this online and talking disrespectful. Bro, people been disrespecting motherfuckers for a long time from all cultures. It's not just black. We might be the head of it right now, disrespecting each other after death and all that. But, bro, look. This shit, history just repeating himself in different cultures.
How could anyone tolerate such disrespect? She swears that she will stop at nothing to avenge her father and restore her family's honor. But that would be much easier said than done. See, Chanfang was now one of the most powerful warlords in China. And Shigolan, well, she was a 21-year-old college kid. The thought of a random student assassinating someone that powerful seemed highly improbable. But Gulan had made up her mind. She changes her name to Shi Jianqiao, the Rising Sword, and sets out on a quest for revenge. But before she was able to find Chanfang, the warlord's life would take the most peculiar turn as well. By 1926, Chinese citizens were sick and tired of the warlord system. A group from the south of China, called the Kuomintang, took advantage of this public sentiment, and they set out on their own quest to defeat every warlord in China to reunite the country. This whole event, called the Northern Expedition, probably deserves its own video, but to massively oversimplify the story, the warlords were all defeated by the KMT in about 2.5 years. This didn't really fix the
Where they get some people that official? I feel that's a big quest that they conquered.
Fighting in China, but with the warlord system gone, Chuanfang lost everything he had worked for. Left with nothing to show from the last 15 years of being a ruthless warlord general, Chuanfang shaves his head and actually becomes a devout Buddhist.
Oh, no, we still coming for that. You just made it that much easier for us, but no, we're still gonna come for that.
All that is respectable and all, I guess. Shi Jianqiao didn't get the memo, and she begins tirelessly working to unearth clues to identify and locate her father's killer. For 10 whole years, she chases leads, traveling hundreds of miles searching for Chuanfang, until finally, she finds him in the city of Tianjin. As she watches the former warlord from the shadows, it takes all of her self-control not to end him right then and there. But she had spent a decade of her life in preparation for this moment.
Right.
She knew that she would only have one shot to take him down, and she could not waste that opportunity. So, instead, she stalks her prey for months, learning his daily routine until finally, she had selected the perfect place to enact her revenge. On November 13th, 1935, Shi Jianqiao steps into a lay Buddhist hall and, as expected, finds Chuanfang kneeling with his eyes closed, leading a group in the chanting of a
he gotta see you. He gotta know why you doing this. You remember, hey, Chang, he said Chuanfang, you remember my father and say his name? And be like, damn, don't let him play stupid. You feel me? She gotta get him alone.
As he continued the recitation, Shi Jianqiao slowly walked directly behind her father's murderer and carefully drew her pistol. She points her weapon at the former warlord and coldly unloads 3 rounds into his head and back. Chuanfang instantly falls dead.
She ain't even tell him what for, though.
And the hall erupts into a panic. But instead of trying to run away, Jianqiao proudly sits next to the dead body and begins to hand out leaflets she had prepared prior to the killing that explained why she did what she had just done. Shi Jianqiao is arrested for murder, but the media picks up the story of the killing of Chuanfang, and it instantly divides the people of China. The traditionalists see her actions as the ultimate form of filial piety, the Confucian doctrine of love and honor for one's parents, while the modernists demand justice and to uphold law and order. Her court case becomes the biggest story of the year and eventually reaches the Supreme Court in Nanjing. Due to overwhelming public support, she was granted a full state pardon, and the killing of Chuanfang
that is insane.
Was deemed an ethically justifiable act of filial piety.
That was 10 years ago. What? 10 years, over 10 years that happened. You can't do that. Clearly you can't do that now, especially not in the U.S. Can't do it. Nigga, motherfuckers in prison will be clearing their name right now. There's a lot of niggas. Yeah, he killed my so-and-so. Oh, okay. Well, shit, man. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't work.
Having avenged
maybe if it was a warlord at one point.
She peacefully lives out the rest of her days and dies in 1979 at the age of 74.
Wow.
Ain Jalut. Okay, this last story completely blew me away because not only was it the first time someone actually stopped the Mongol conquest in its tracks, it's probably one of the craziest movie-like stories of revenge in history. It's 1231, and the once vast and powerful empire known as Khwarezmia lies in complete ruin. As retribution for the disrespect shown to Mongol emissaries by the governor of Otrar, Genghis Khan and his army had invaded the land, killing an estimated 15 million people as they burned entire cities to the ground. Amongst the remnants of the once proud civilization, the Mongols who continued their occupation of the land find a young Khwarezmian prince and sell him to a slave merchant in Egypt. The boy is purchased by the local sultan and is put into training to become a mamluk, a warrior class of slaves used by the rulers of the Muslim world as elite knights. The former prince is thrown in with the rest of the slave children and is forced to endure the strictest of training regiments designed to turn boys into hardened men. From a young age, he is thrust into combat against...
This is another concept that's just kind of crazy to me. You were once a part, like, your civilization, how you live now. wherever you're living now, watching my video, a war breaks out outside of your house, bombs now. All these things are happening. You're seeing your family get offed. My battery. You're seeing everything you ever once knew destroyed, right? Up in flames, and there's a man leading the conquest. Now you're by yourself. They find you, and you're sold into slavery to live in a whole different area because you were conquered. Like, you can't fathom. It's crazy that this was a part of history. It's so wild to fathom. You're sold into slavery for you to now learn to be a warrior doing XYZ. Man.
Other children, and he is given the name
We've
Kutus,
came a long
the
way,
rabid
bro.
dog, because he fights like a vicious beast against the other slaves. Kutus rises through the ranks and eventually becomes the vice sultan of Egypt in 1253. By now, the Mamluks had revolted against their masters and established their own sultanate, becoming the rulers of the land. Against all odds, the former prince had made his way from slavery back to a royal position. But an easy life was not his destiny, and ghosts from his past would soon return to haunt him. Though Genghis Khan had died in 1227, his grandson Hulagu Khan had continued the Mongol expansion westward. Like demons, they had brought nothing but death and destruction to every land they touched. In 1254, they sacked the city of Baghdad and massacred all of its inhabitants, ending the Islamic Golden Age. The Mongols then pushed into Syria and took the cities of Aleppo and Damascus. The Ayyubid Sultan sends word to Egypt, pleading for help against the Mongols, and Kutus is haunted by the memories of the destruction of his homeland. He knows the horrors the horde from the east will bring, and if the Mamluks are to have any chance of survival, Egypt must have strong leadership. He deposes the young and inexperienced sultan and takes the throne for himself.
Wow.
As if on cue, Hulagu Khan's diplomats soon arrive in Cairo, and they begin to read a very Mongol-sounding message to the new sultan. From the king of kings of the east and west, the great Khan, to Kutus the Mamluk, who fled to escape our swords. You should think of what happened to other countries and submit to us. Oof, you have heard how we have conquered a vast empire and have purified the earth of the disorders that tainted it. We have conquered vast areas, massacring all the people. You cannot escape from the terror of our armies. Where can you flee? What road will you use to escape us? Our horses are swift, our arrows sharp, our swords like thunderbolts, our hearts as hard as—
They're really just banging on them.
Some mountains. Our soldiers as numerous as the sand. Fortresses will not detain us, nor armies stop us. Your prayers to God will not avail against us.
Oh my God.
We are not moved by tears.
Your prayers will not work. We are not moved by nothing. We are as many as grains of sand. We are coming to take care of business. Keep playing if you want to. Do what you're supposed to do. And let's not have no bloodshed, because we are coming to do that. We're willing to do that, and we will not think nothing about it.
Or touched by lamentations. Only those who beg for our protection will be safe. Hasten your reply before the fire of war is kindled.
Before we handle
Resist,
this shit.
and you will suffer the most terrible catastrophes. We will shatter your mosques and reveal the weakness of your god, and then we will kill your children and your old men together. At present, you are the only enemy against whom we have to march. As the messenger speaks his final words, the Mamluk advisors are literally shaking in fear. Kutus looks to his officials and his blood begins to boil. He calls for counsel away from the Mongol diplomats, and in private, the Sultan begins an impassioned plea to the council. You all have lived good lives funded by the taxes of the people, and now you wish to abandon them? Kutus continues to argue with those who wish to flee, and his voice begins to quiver with desperation. Finally, he looks to his advisors as tears begin to stream down his cheeks. My brothers, who will defend Islam if not us? The Mongols had taken everything from him as a child. He could not let them do it again. The generals and nobles are moved by his words, and despite knowing they would most likely be accepting their own deaths with the decision, they agree to follow him into battle. With that, Kutus and his men solemnly return to the Mongol messengers. The Sultan looks towards his guests and calmly gives a signal. His soldiers step forward and slice.
I was about to say, why would we let y'all go home? Why would we let y'all go home? And that's a tough job to have. Like, you a messenger, right? You knowing, like, okay, these niggas might actually kill me. But if I'm him, if I'm the guy that makes the orders, y'all aren't leaving. Y'all came sending this threat. So basically, get down or lay down. I'm just going, people gonna die anyway. Y'all ain't coming over here just on the street. Like, it ain't just gonna be like nothing's gonna happen. Let's go ahead and get it started there. Y'all not leaving though. They'll just have to learn that we on that from y'all not coming back, to be honest.
The diplomats in half. Their heads are removed and hung from the south gates of Cairo as an open act of defiance.
I feel that.
A letter is sent to Hulagu notifying the Mongols that the Mamluks will not bow down and will instead fight to the
He not about to come back.
end. Kutus is soon joined
That's
by
the last
a rival
time we learned
Mamluk
about
general
him. We
named
heard about him.
Baybars, a man who was also sold into slavery as a child by the Mongols, and they quickly begin to raise an army and set out to confront the enemy from the east. The Mamluks cobble together 24,000 men, but they are vastly outnumbered by the Mongols, nearly 3-1. It looks like this will be another trademark Mongol Muslim massacre, but fate intervenes when the great Khan Monka dies. Hulagu is forced to return to his homeland to help decide on the successor, and takes most of his army with him. He leaves his trusted general Kitbuka with around 12,000 warriors to finish the job. Kitbuka had recently converted to Christianity, so he recruits some Christian soldiers from Armenia and Georgia to bulk up his army, and then begins preparations to invade Egypt. Kutus gets word that Hulagu had left the area, and he and Baybars immediately ride out to force a battle with Kitbuka. They find the Mongols camped near a spring called Ain Jalut in Galilee. Baybars had spent time in the area as a fugitive and was familiar with the terrain, and he comes up with a battle plan to use the Mongols' own tactics against them. The bulk of the Mamluk army, commanded by Kutus, is left hiding in the trees, and Baybars takes a small detachment to directly attack the Mongols. Baybars and his men charge the Mongol camp and harass them for hours with hit-and-run tactics. Every time the Mongols run out to fight, the Mamluks pull back closer and closer to Kutus. Eventually, Kitbuka grows frustrated and he orders a full charge. This is exactly what Baybars had been waiting for, and he quickly orders his warriors to fall back. The Mongols, now enraged the Mamluks are again running away, blindly chase them. And Baybars and his men lead them directly to Kutus. The trap had been set, and the Sultan gives the order. Kutus's army emerges from the forest, and archers send a storm of arrows down onto the unsuspecting Mongol riders.
They clean. No, that's a good one. I like that.
The Mamluk heavy cavalry then makes a full charge and smash directly into the enemy line. Kitbuka and his warriors are initially shocked by this surprise attack, but they quickly regain their composure and begin fighting back. The battle is brutal, and the Mongols quickly prove that their reputation was well earned
we know
as
how
they
to
begin to savagely tear through the Mamluk army. Kutus watches from a distance as his left flank begins to falter, and it appears that the Mongol forces are about to break through. His mind is flooded with memories of his childhood. He cannot let history repeat itself, and so, without a moment's hesitation, Kutus abandons his post and charges headfirst into battle. As he rides, he throws off his helmet and shouts, "O Islam! O Allah! Grant your servant Kutus a victory against these Mongols!" His warriors turn to see who is shouting and are shocked to see their sultan riding into battle to fight alongside them. Kutus continues to charge forward. "O Islam!" He screams, and his words fill the Mamluks with renewed courage. They regain their composure and they begin to fight back. The battle rages on, with Kutus now on the front lines, and soon the Mongols do something they had never done before. They begin to run in fear. Kitbuka cannot believe his eyes as his warriors flee past him. He tries to rally his remaining men, but it is no use. The Mongol general and those who stayed to fight are all slain in battle. Hulagu Khan receives word of the Mongol defeat at Ain Jalut and is enraged. He orders the execution of the last of his Ayyubid prisoners, but the damage had already been done. The illusion of the Mongol invincibility had been shattered. 5 days after the Battle of Ain Jalut, Kutus and Baybars retake Damascus, and within a month, they also free.
Dang, that's all it took. That's all it took. Catching some dubs. You know, catch a big dub, got them shaking like, dang, hold on. You saying this the first time we ever got, you know what I'm saying, toe up? They coming through? I don't know.
The
You already
Aleppo
know that's
from
how this
Mongol
feeling.
control. 2 men who had been sold into slavery as children by the Mongols had pulled off what no one had ever dreamed possible. They had stopped the unstoppable horde from the east, avenged the Khwarezmian Empire, and saved the Muslim and Christian world. Throughout the following decades, the Mongols would attempt multiple invasions into Syria, but would be pushed back time and time again until eventually the descendants of Hulagu themselves eventually converted to Islam.
Wow.
If you can't beat them, join them, I guess. As for Kutus,
They're like, Islam must be strong. Okay.
Because his story is, it ends on kind of a down note. As his army was riding back to Cairo to celebrate their victory at Ain Jalut, he was assassinated by a group of his own soldiers, probably under the orders of Baybars himself.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy. It's a slimy world, bro. It's still a slimy world, but it was slimier then. Goodness gracious. That being said, y'all let me know what y'all think. But yeah, appreciate you. Great for y'all. We gone. ADD lad, dog.